to really trying to narrow down very specifically what programs are working, what industries they're working in, parts of the state that they're working in, the guys are getting released to.
Okay. Yeah, that
We are getting there.
okay. You got one of your friends there in Des Moines and on his own shop right now.
I've got a couple slides in here for you. I'm gonna tell his story. He gave me permission to go ahead and talk about him and share some pictures that he's taken. Some shots. Yeah. No, it's good. I'm hoping you guys kind of get an idea of what we're doing and all of the cool stuff we've been doing over the last 15 months. Because it's been something.
Yeah. Has the events at Anamosa put a kind of damper, at least across the board, I suppose?
This we're pretty much what happens will be, whatever the department determines as far as what shops open back up, what jobs are available again. Until then, we're just everybody's just kind of suspended and wait and see.
Okay.
But with what happened and all the security issues and stuff, we're going to really try to focus on maybe more short-term programs.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. I'll get out of the way.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are things down in your
Steve Wise,
neck
I'm
of the
with
woods?
Warden Approvals.
How are you?
Nice to see you. You too.
Nice to meet you, Marcy Stroud. Marcy Stroud. Thank you. Well, we'll see how you vote.
Yes, John.
Excited to hear you.
Mount Pleasant will be all set.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the July meeting of the Board of Corrections. A couple of reminders before we start. Everybody who is here is asked to sign in at the back of the room, and the restrooms, if necessary, are out the door and to the left. Thank you. Joanne is here for my moral support today, but I'm glad everybody can make it. I think we're all excited to be here, and it's great to be in person, and we've got a lot of good things going on, and I'm excited to meet the warden candidates, and we'll go ahead and proceed with the approval of the June 4th minutes. Would anybody move to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I approve.
All right, any discussion regarding the minutes?
That was good.
Okay, yeah, and I do want to mention that Webster and Jim are on electronically, so. All right, hearing the motion and seconded, we will vote to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, we will approve the minutes for the June meeting. Our next board meeting will be August 6th, and it will be in the 2nd Judicial District in Fort Dodge. At this point, I would call on Director Skinner for the update. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris Tripp.
Okay. Sorry. I was gonna slow walk.
Chris is getting ready to stand up.
I'm gonna go back home.
Well, first of all, big welcome to the Iowa State Penitentiary. It is exciting for us to actually get together in person again and not have to wear all this PPE, and we can actually have the interaction that we've missed for over a year. So that's very nice to have. A couple things I would like to mention is that is going on, of course, with the COVID situation. We're making some grounds to get back to some normalcy. Some visiting starting tomorrow here at the Iowa State Penitentiary, as well as all the sites around all the institutions around the state. So we're looking forward to having that. So again, welcome to ISP, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Well, I am just as excited for the first time. I don't know how many months it's been for all of us to be together. Has it been a year? I don't even know.
It's been more than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone looks younger. Y'all look younger. No, it's great to see the board. Great to have you on the phone. Webster and I believe Jim's on the phone as well. Great to see everyone here today. So this is great. So my updates, I'm going to update you on a few things. First, I'm going to update you on the COVID numbers and vaccinations. I'm going to also update you on how we're opening back up around, as Chris mentioned, we're going to start visitation this weekend, and talk about the population. And then that'll be my update, because I know we have a lot in terms of what our next agenda item, which is the warden. So let me first just give you some updates around COVID. Right now, in terms of individuals incarcerated, we only have 2 positives. So, our numbers have probably been at their lowest, which is good. In terms of staff positives, only 6 staff positives. In terms of vaccinations, for the individuals incarcerated, there are about fully vaccinated. There's about 69% across all 9 institutions are vaccinated, fully vaccinated. For staff, it's 57%. And just so you know, we continue to offer it to people that want it, that change their mind. We tell folks if they need more information or knowledge or just to learn more about the vaccination, to talk to our medical staff to be more informed, so they can make a more informed decision. We are offering on intake, which will come to reception as well. So we hope to see those numbers continue to rise as we move forward. So as Chris mentioned, visitation will be opening up across the state starting July 10th. We're going to do this at half capacity. And the reason why we're doing this at half capacity is because we want to be able to social distance. You know, we know COVID's still around, there's variants around and things like that. So we want to start off slow and then carefully watch the numbers on a regular basis. Now, if our numbers can start to grow in terms of staff positives or individuals incarcerated numbers, then we'll have to make some calls in terms of maybe restricting visitation or suspending, just depending on what will happen. But we're going to watch it very, very closely. But these individuals, they're incarcerated, haven't seen their loved ones for about 16 months. So it's been a long time. You know, we provide them video visitation during the 16 months. And we're going to continue to offer video visitation because what we've seen is that some people have family members that are in California or in Ohio that can't make it in person. So for the first time, they have opportunity to see their loved ones. So we're going to continue to do the in-person, starting that, and the video visitation. So we'll be doing it at half capacity, and we'll reevaluate that in a couple months to see, making sure that the numbers stay stable, and we don't have any spread of COVID in our prisons. We also, which is I think going to make staff very, very happy, the warden's probably going to attest to this, as we made the mask optional. So we are no longer requiring staff to wear masks. It's completely optional at this point. There are exemptions where you, in terms where you are required to wear a mask. For example, it would be in infirmary, or in a clinic, or doing a transport, something like that. So there are some areas where the masks are still required. We had a lot of discussion regarding these strategies. We want to make sure that we're keeping people safe, and so we thought that was a good balance. So I think Warden your staff are probably super happy that they can take the mask off. So again, that'll be something we monitor as we move forward. If we start seeing an uptick in numbers, we'll have to reevaluate. The mask might have to come back on. If we have to dial back up, we'll dial back up. But for now, we're just going to watch the numbers and do everything we can to keep people as safe as possible. The next thing I want to move to is talking about the population. So today our population is 7,751. We are 11.8% over capacity. So if you remember, you guys probably know these numbers better than most of us do because we've talked about this every board meeting. Prior to COVID, our capacity, we were 22% over capacity. At one point, I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, we got down to as low as 7% or around 6 to 7% over capacity during COVID. So our numbers are climbing back up. We are halfway to the point of where we were prior to the pandemic. So our population is going up. So we share some numbers with you as well. So as we see our numbers continue to move back up, our admissions are hovering around the past few months around 350. Normally they're sometimes over around the 500 level. And that might be because we still have people in jail waiting to come in, probably 150 or 60 or so. And the courts might not be fully ramped up. So I expect that number of 350 admissions to probably rise over time as the courts get going. And then in terms of our, what we're seeing, our releases are around 300 the last few months. So as you can see, the admissions are outpacing the releases, and that's why our population is starting to grow. What we'll do do it on, what we can do is we can continue to look at our reputations, those that are in the community that get revoked back to prison for, conditions, violating the conditions of the supervision. We look at those very closely to see if there's a way we can treat them in their community in a safe manner, and not compromise any kind of public safety. And we're continuing to work with the Board of Parole. We just had a meeting with them, I think it was early this week, or it was last week, and just talking with them about our process, risk assessments, talking about, what questions they have for us, what information they need for us to make a more informed decision on releases and things like that. So, we continue to work with them and educate them on our case plans and reentry and things like that. But just saying that I just want you to be aware that the trend is moving up. We're moving back, our population is starting to move back up. Just want to make you aware of that. Other than that, I'll leave it at that in terms of the updates around COVID, opening back up, and our population. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm just wondering about staffing. How are we coming on staffing? With the population going back up, are we?
We're hiring. We are working really hard. Our wardens have done a terrific job. We're actually working with DAS, Department of Administrative Services, as well, to figure out, how, talk about recruitment, some new strategies in terms of getting more people in the door, more applicants. But we're starting to fill up some of our vacancies. So we're moving in a very positive direction. We still have a ways to go, but we're working hard. I will tell you, that's a priority. One of the priorities we have is to get our prison staffed up. Okay, but and they're doing it. I think Warden Carberg has, I don't know how many people you guys have hired.
We have 24 that recently applied that we put for interview.
Yeah. So we're putting the foot on the gas.
Okay.
Of course, getting the right people, the right seats, the right people for the job.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, but we are. That's going to be a priority. We're going to be working on some recruitment strategies here in the very near future. So.
Any questions from Jim or Webster? Hearing none, it sounds
No.
like we can move on to the warden approvals, and I think the entire board has had an opportunity to speak with the director, but we're gonna handle this one warden at a time. And so Dr. Skinner will introduce the warden candidate. Questions will be taken from the board if there are any, and then we will move to approve the wardens for the 3 facilities.
Thank you, Chair Williams. Okay, first I would like to ask the board to approve the appointment of Chris Tripp. He is currently the interim warden here at ISP. He took the place of Randy, who I'll talk about in a second, who's over there as new deputy of prison operations. But I want to give you a little background on Chris. So Chris began employment with the Iowa Department of Corrections in March of 1990 as a correctional food service coordinator. Chris transferred to the security department and spent the next 13 years as a correctional officer. Chris was promoted to correctional supervisor, lieutenant in 2006, and to the food service director in late 2006, and deputy warden in 2017. Chris was born and raised in the local area and has spent his entire career at the Iowa State Penitentiary. During these years, as being a correctional officer, he's been involved with the labor union and has held a position as an executive vice president of statewide organization, as well as he represented the National Union for Prisons and Criminal Justice Issues. Chris took the role of logistics chief for organizing and preparing the move from the old penitentiary, remember that, back in that day, to the new institution. He also took the role of project manager for the Motorola radio project to build a communications tower and install a new radio system. So that is a little bit about Mr. Tripp. If you have any questions for him.
I have a question. Mr. Tripp, I have a question. You spent most of your career, all of your career here at State Penitentiary. What's going to be different now that you're going to be the warden of penitentiary?
Well, ISP's focus is to take the tough cases, the offenders that are the most misbehaved. We take them, and our goal is to really get them in a position where we can step them down to a lower security destination. So by doing that, we want to do that in a safe way. We want to keep our staff safe. We want to keep the offenders safe. And some of that is finding that balance between that treatment component and that security component so that we can, because they fit together very well with the treatment. It provides them with better behavior and the ability to for us to manage them. So that is our goal, is to get them, work with them, and move them on down to the next step.
Thank you.
I surprisingly don't have any questions, but I will.
Larry, come on. Don't disappoint me. I like your level now.
I'm familiar with Chris.
All right.
But I would appreciate, I know Webster was part of the interview team, I believe, if Webster's comments would be appreciated, I guess, if he's got some comments about Chris. Oh, Chris was an appointment, I misunderstood, so he wasn't interviewed, you appointed him.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, you're right, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, he was, yeah, so, yes, so he was
The other two candidates.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
well, see, I did have a question, because I questioned that.
I think you're trying to trick me. Yeah, so Chris, he was already the acting warden here.
Yes,
So I
yeah,
just
that was just a question.
Yes, I just meant to mention warden.
Yeah,
So.
I have nothing further in the way of confusion.
Well, Randy's over there like mouthing something to me. Like, oh yeah,
No. But I do that too. It's
yeah,
just that-
I do it too. I mean, so here we go.
I will fill Larry's void in asking that question. I'm just curious, going forward, what initially will keep you up at night?
Making sure that my staff are safe, making sure that we are doing everything we can to make sure that, well, both the offenders and the staff are safe. That is my ultimate goal.
Thank you. I would ask for, I keep turning because I'm used to having board members on both sides, but ask for a motion to approve Chris Tripp to be warden of Iowa State.
And I second.
Hearing a motion and having it seconded, I will call. Thank you. I will call for a vote to approve for Chris, the warden of Iowa State.
We'll say aye or
All
nay.
in favor of aye? Or
Aye.
please say
Aye.
And those opposed? Hearing no opposition, we will approve you as warden. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Warden. Next, I would like to ask the board to approve the appointment of Sean Howard to the warden position at Newton Correctional Facility. He is currently the current deputy warden of Clarinda Correctional Facility. He has held this position since August of 2019. Sean has held various positions in Iowa Department of Corrections and the private sector since he began his career in 1992. He started his career as a youth counselor at the Clarinda Academy, has worked as a juvenile court liaison officer, a probation and parole officer in the 5th Judicial District, and has held the position of treatment director at and deputy warden with the IDOC. Sean has over 29 years of experience in corrections with 19 years of management. Sean brings a wealth of knowledge of not only correctional facilities, but of also community corrections. Sean and his family have resided in Clarinda over the past 16 years. Sean is grateful and excited for the opportunity for the leadership position at the Newton Correctional Facility. Sean holds a Bachelor of Arts, Sociology, and a minor in Political Science from Buena Vista University.
So an opportunity for questions. And I think Fred's question's a good one, because obviously you're coming from from Clorinda, which is a whole different ballgame as opposed to Newton. So what are your thoughts about, what are you gonna see? And I realize you're filling the shoes of a very good previous warden.
And uniquely that I've worked for, 4 of our current wardens have been wardens of Clorinda, so I feel like an opportunity to learn a little bit from each one of those that I'm going to take forward. And I would hate to make anything other than we were just talking before this, sitting back and seeing how the operations, Newton fills its void within the IDOC mission very well, and that sex offender treatment and reintegration of those people back in the community, along with a very large minimum workouts population, and then the Safekeeper House also. And I think just making sure that we're fulfilling that obligation and working those offenders, those sex offenders, which are extremely important to this state and to the department, that we're working towards their rehabilitation and being able to reintegrate them back in the community safely, that they don't reoffend. I think that would be my
Thank you.
Webster or Jim, any questions?
I think there are questions for me through the interview process. Just overall, I was very, very impressed. He's very knowledgeable on the whole correction system. I was also impressed that the Clorinda has a very, very impressive facility there. So definitely got the right man for the job there.
Thank you, Webster. Any other questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion for the approval of Sean Howard for the new correctional facility?
So moved.
Second. Jim.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, we can proceed to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Hearing no opposition, you're approved.
Congratulations, Warden Howard. You're getting used to that, huh? All right. Next, I would like to ask the board to approve the appointment of Marcy Stroud to the warden position at Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility. Marcy Stroud is currently a deputy warden of the Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility. She has been working for the Iowa Department of Corrections since 1989. That was a year before I graduated. Wait, that's not your bio. Sorry, that was when she was first employed as a correctional officer. I told you I was going to get you. Since that time, she has held the position of activity specialist, correctional counselor, treatment service director, treatment director, forensic hospital director, and deputy warden. Marcy also oversaw the Women's Special Needs Unit at the Mount Pleasant and was the director of the Forensic Psychiatric Hospital at IMCC for approximately 5 years. As deputy warden, she helped lead Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility from their former role as a medium custody sex offender treatment facility to a current status as a medium facility focusing on prepping incarcerated individuals for the return back to society. Marcy is a lifelong resident of Mount Pleasant and is excited about having a leadership role in her home community. Marcy is a graduate of University of Iowa. Go Hawks! Sorry, I got excited there.
I just want to know, how are you guys faring with the heat, with no air conditioning up there at Mount Pleasant? What are your plans to take care of that situation?
You know, it's always on the major maintenance list. We try to keep it at the top, but somehow it keeps getting bumped down a little bit.
Yeah, well, as Steve knows, you just keep trucking and someday it might happen.
That's what we're hoping, yes.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, that wasn't real.
That's all right. John, do you have any questions?
I really don't have a question, but I would just like to know if you, being that you're from Mount Pleasant, how does it feel working in the same community that you live in?
Oh, I love it. Whoever was on my panel heard my story about growing up at the Mental Health Institute because my mom worked there. And so I spent a lot of time on that campus from, 5 years on up, volunteering and getting to know, people with mental health issues and other disabilities. And it really taught me how to treat people, and I value the fact that I got to have that experience growing up and been able to maintain it through my career. And so I'm really excited about being able to be from that community and lead this institution.
Thank you.
Webster, Jim, any comments or questions?
This the most complete and thorough resume I've ever seen. I think her entire career has been leading to this position and even beyond this one when she's done academics. There's not much she hasn't done, starting from a few months after I was born.
Way to piggyback on that, Webster. Nice job.
Marcy, I want you to know that I graduated from high school in 1967, so.
Thank you.
So you're just a young chicken.
All right, may I have a motion for the approval of Marcy for the Mount Pleasant Correctional Facility as warden?
I bet you
Jim or
Jim has a
Webster?
motion, right, Jim?
If you would like, yes, I would.
Thank you. Would anybody second?
I'll second.
Thank you. If there is no further discussion, I will move this to a vote. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing no opposition, you are officially warden.
Warden Stroud, congratulations.
Thank you.
The next thing, this is not a, any kind of action item, it's just kind of an update about Randy.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I would like to interrupt just for a second. First, I would like to thank Webster for volunteering his time for the interviews. And I would also like to publicly thank Larry for countless interviews in the last several years. He finally got a little bit of relief from being the board representative for that.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep.
And also,
But the interesting thing, I think I've interviewed everybody that got appointed today.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure, so I've had that privilege in the past, so.
well, and I would also like to thank, and Director, you can help me with this. Chris, you were at Newton. Randy, were you here up until today?
I was here up until April, and I was the interim warden at Anamosa.
Oh,
and
okay.
then I went from Anamosa to serving as the Deputy Director of Institutional Operations.
Okay. And the third, help me out. Who do we need to thank
Yes,
for their previous positions?
Yes.
That's what I'm trying
Actually, I was
to
gonna
do.
ask the board if I can do that, if
Yes.
that's okay with you.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
first and foremost, so this is not a motion, when Bill Spurzlage is left and retired on June 10th, I asked Randy to be my Deputy of Prison Operations, starting June 11th. Randy has been in corrections since 1991. That's 2 years prior to when I graduated. But he started as a correctional officer. He's been a lieutenant, a captain, a training officer, treatment service director. He's got a wealth of experience. He's a great leader. And it's been, we've been going since the 11th. We've accomplished a lot so far together and as a team. He's going to be invaluable to our team, our administrative team at Central Office. So I'm looking forward to the future with Randy, and he's the right guy for the job. So congratulations, Randy.
Thank you.
So finally, I want to talk about those that are leaving us. And Jay's not here today, Jay Nelson, who is the warden at Mount Pleasant. But Chris is here, and Chris Weitzel, Warden Weitzel, has been with us for 38 years. led an impressive career, and I'm not gonna read your bio because I know you don't want me to read it. So I just wanna talk about you and Jay, but my whole thing, and this is my selfish side, is I wish I had more time with you and Jay. We had some crossover at central office for a while, and Chris has always been willing to step up whenever there's been a gap or a hole or facility that, you know, if we had to switch things around, Chris never said no. She was completely dedicated to the Iowa Department of Corrections. I don't even know or begin to know how to thank you and how much I respect you and how much gratitude we all have. And we all respect you and have gratitude for you and what a leader you've been in this agency. I mean, you have been a pillar as a warden. You have laid over 38 years a foundation that will never be forgotten. You have a legacy and you will be missed by all of us, I'll tell you that. Your commitment, your dedication, your leadership, it's just incredible. And I want to thank you for all your years of service. And you gave it your 110, 20, 30, 40%. Always could rely on you. We're going to really miss you, Chris. So thank you for being in corrections and dedicating your career to corrections. We love you. We miss you. We're going to miss
So can I say a couple words?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to sit if that's all right. So I got to tell you, I thought today would be easy because I've been preparing for this for a long time. But I got to tell you, when you hear a warden approved for your position, that was a little more than what I thought it was going to be. So the other thing is, I'm so excited for Steve because when I was at Clarinda, the team there, we put together that plan for that kitchen. And so I'm so excited that they're finally going to get their kitchen. So when I started in corrections in 1982, and honestly, when Randy asked me for my bio last night, I said, "You've got to be kidding." And so when I started as a correctional officer in 1982, I'll just backtrack. I did an internship at Rockville City when the women were still at Rockville City. And that was the spring of '82, and they were hiring for correctional officers, and the rest is history. And so when I started in 1982 at Mitchellville, my goal was to be a warden. And I have had an amazing career with wonderful opportunities, but those opportunities were there because I made those opportunities. I got involved in every single thing I could possibly involve myself in. And so while that career has been amazing, there's some things that I've loved about corrections. One, we never have the same day twice. We make a difference in somebody's life every single day. And I preach that over and over and over to my staff because corrections is not a positive environment. And I think sometimes we as staff get caught up in the negativity. We don't want to, but we do. And I think sometimes staff don't see that daily difference that they make. And so I am constantly reminding staff, you make a difference whether you see it or you don't. And then just our staff. We have the best staff in the state. And they are so dedicated to the mission of our work every single day, even in times of hardship and sometimes despair and negativity. They always are at the forefront to make a change in the mission of our department. I've had a lot of things that I'm proud of through my career, but I think probably the thing I'm most proud of is that I was the first female warden at a men's institution in Iowa. And so I hope that that has paved the way I know it has paved the way for other women. Patty Wackendorf was the first female at Iowa State. Marcy will now be the first female at Mount Pleasant. And then I was at Clarinda and Fort Dodge and Newton. So I'm very proud of that. I want to thank the Department of Corrections and the Board of Corrections for all the support you've shown me through the years. I wish you all the best as you move forward. And, but it's time for my family to have me. And so I was just on vacation last week and on the phone and on my iPad, and my family always says, why do they need to call you on vacation? And so now we're gonna go on vacation the day after I retire, and there will be no phone and there will be no iPad anymore. And so that I am looking forward to. I truly will miss everyone. It's been an amazing journey, and corrections will always have a very huge spot in my heart. I love you all. Couldn't have done this without you. And be safe, be healthy, and be happy.
Thank you, Chris. So do I have your work or personal phone?
You have the personal.
Okay, good. So
I'll
make
keep your
sure.
number.
Okay, so I'll make sure. Oh, thank you, Chris. And unfortunately, Jay couldn't be here today. Jay has spent 37 years of his career working in corrections, fully committed to the mission, great leader, just invaluable expertise and knowledge, and has just given this department so much. And we all are going to miss him so much. He truly was an amazing leader. And just like Chris, you will always be part of our family. No matter if you're working or you're retired, we will always be here for you.
Thank you.
So thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we are going to hear about the apprenticeship program from Dane. It's kind of a hard act to follow, right?
5-minute break?
No problem. You got this.
Get my water. Is someone gonna be able to? Yep. Ready to talk about apprenticeship. All right. No, thank you, everybody. Thank you, board, director, wardens, new wardens, a lot of faces I've not seen before. Thank you for letting me speak today about our programs. I'm hoping I can give you a pretty general overview of the apprenticeship programs that we have within the Department of Corrections. Some of you probably didn't even know we had those. So I hope it's a learning experience, but I also want to showcase a lot of the positive, really cool, neat things that we're doing inside our facilities that are really helping individuals, not only while they're incarcerated, but also upon release. So again, my name is Dane Stolenczyk. I am the apprenticeship coordinator, so I oversee all of our programs in all 9 facilities. The first slide I always like to start with is basically the nuts and bolts of what apprenticeship is. I know a lot of you probably heard it, you kind of have an idea of what it is, but there's really 5 main points that really go into apprenticeship. First and foremost, you have to have an employer. We as corrections are the employer. We hire our individuals, our incarcerated individuals, and we provide that work for them, we provide that wage. So we are the employer in this case. And I'm going to mention this probably quite a few times throughout this presentation, how important job opportunities are for our individuals inside these prisons. You know, it really does make a huge difference that they have these opportunities to learn these skills, get training, and carry that on once upon release. The 2 real main meat and potatoes of apprenticeship, though, is the structured on-the-job learning or on-the-job training and the related training instruction. So once an individual has a job, and that's in an apprenticeable occupation, there's really 2 pieces. It's the OJT, what they learn on the job, the skills that they learn, and then the related training instruction, which I like to just kind of call the classroom piece. And this could be training within the classroom, it can be self-study, and it can be online. It's really just there to supplement what they learn on the job. And we actually utilize all 3 of those methods in training. So those are the 2 main pieces in the apprenticeship, on-the-job training, related training instruction. And then the last two pieces are the rewards for skills gains and the national credential. So all of our programs are registered with the Federal Department of Labor. They're the ones that oversees registered apprenticeship across the nation. So we are a sponsor rep with the Department of Labor. So we have to adhere and follow the policies and the procedures and the standards given from DOL to implement these programs. One of which is the reward for skills gains, which is an incremental pay increase as individuals go through their program. Now, within corrections, that gets a little bit tricky because every facility is kind of different with their pay scale, every job's a little bit different, but there still is that reward at the end with some type of bonus or even a raise in salary once an individual completes that program. And then if they do complete it, they get that national credential. And that is a national recognized, basically like a diploma that you can take anywhere in the nation, and that'll show that you are a journeyman or a journeywoman in that apprenticeship. So that's the boring stuff. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what really goes into the apprenticeship and how it works, okay? So some numbers real quick, just to give you an idea of the scale of our program. We currently have 29 registered apprenticeships. I'm really close to getting to 30 to get that round number. We have currently 285 active apprentices statewide. And since the inception of our program, I believe back in 2015, we've had 314 individuals complete their programs. And our programs range anywhere from a 1-year program to a 4 to 5-year program. And you know, it's definitely challenging depending on the job that you have. So this really is a testament, these numbers, to just the collaboration and working together as a team. My apprenticeship sponsors, I have one apprenticeship sponsor in every single facility that oversees the day-to-day operations. So I have 9 sponsors throughout the state, and you know, they do a fantastic job working with staff, working with the individuals to get them enrolled, to make sure they're getting their hours in and they're getting their tests and their books completed. So these numbers, you know, are only going to grow. They've grown since I've started in this role. I think it's like 4 years ago now. Crazy. So we're just looking to add, and I'm going to show you a few other programs that we're looking to add here soon. But since I've started, we've actually added 9, I believe 10 programs so far. And all of these apprenticeships are jobs that we have in the facilities. And I think that, you know, most people don't understand the breadth and the spectrum of jobs that we allow, that we provide for our individuals. So there's just a few numbers. And I know this graph's a bit like, whoa, in your face, but I really wanted to show you kind of where the apprentices lie in each program. So this is all 29 programs, and the numbers correspond with how many apprentices we have in each program. So you can kind of see where, we have jobs all the way, just facility jobs, cook, housekeeper, maintenance, landscape, different facility jobs that really make the world go round for the facilities. And we also have our Iowa prison industry jobs, which are a little bit more highly skilled. So, the one that really pops out there is the housekeeper position, which we have quite a few, and that's a 1-year program, but it's also one of the most prevalent jobs that we have in the facility. So that's why our numbers are so high there. And it really is a good opportunity for some individuals, because I always like to reiterate, for an apprenticeship, for some of these jobs, this is the first real employment some of these individuals have ever had. And to be able to even, for some of us, we're like, well, it's just a housekeeper. Well, for them, that's a huge step. And for them to get a certificate and say that they're a journeyman level housekeeper or janitorial services, that's huge. That could be the first positive thing they've gotten in years that they've done themselves. So every one of these programs are important in their own way. And again, we're just always looking to add opportunities and continue to grow and build our training. So again, just wanted to show you that graph. And then this, I think, is just a breakdown of, here's all of our programs, there's all of our facilities. So this kind of shows you what programs are in what facilities. And this really does kind of show where our shops are, what job opportunities are in every facility. Again, not every facility is going to have every single job. Anamosa, as you can see, that's where most of our Iowa prison industry shops are, has a good chunk of our programs listed there, especially in the skills and the trades occupations. You get into your release centers, your minimum security level facilities, and there's just not a lot of those opportunities there. So there's a handful, but we also, what's great about those facilities, so we do have the opportunity to work with private sector companies and employers on the outside. I mean, I can talk over it, but.
I don't know if I hang out we'll have some soft ones.
Good elevator music there. Court, did you pick that? Okay, thank you. So anyway, this just gives you an outline of kind of where our programs are across the state. So, and I just wanted to say too, if anyone has any questions, I don't know if that's kosher or not, but I'm pretty, low key when it comes to these presentations. If you have questions, raise your hand, and, I'll definitely call on you. So.
Hey, Dave, I know we got a presentation at Clorinda about the beekeeping program down there. Is that under consideration for being an apprenticeship
It can be.
program?
It is, however, a 6,000-hour
Oh,
program.
it's a lot.
It seems to be a little bit more than it might be worth.
Okay.
I'm not saying every apprenticeship is great, but it's one of those where we've kind of incorporated that into our landscaping program there.
Okay.
So they are getting training. They're utilizing that. It's just I don't think it's worth doing a standalone for that one.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
The barbering program that you have at Anamosa, North Madison, New Mobile, and Rockville. Now that's only 5 places. Are there more than one barber in the barber shop in the prison, or is it?
Depends on the facility. Kind of depends on what the openings are. Every facility is different when it comes to their barbering. How they utilize that. But also to remember, they have to be getting paid a wage to be in the apprenticeship. So some facilities may have barbers, but they might not be getting paid. It's more of like a volunteer. They just do it because. Some facilities, there's not a direct supervisor really overseeing them per se. So it's where it really comes down to the facility and if it's worth, if we're able to implement that apprenticeship there based off that.
And also with all the apprenticeships, if the person is on parole, will they be able to have the apprenticeship outside?
Sure.
Of the prison?
Yep. Great question. I was going to get to that, but yes. So, and that's. I'll just talk about it now. When I always talk about apprenticeship, I always say it's a pathway, right? It's a journey through someone's time while they're incarcerated. That reentry piece for a majority of our individuals, not all, but majority of individuals, starts the day they get into prison. And this apprenticeship is a path for them to help better themselves once they get out and secure a better future for themselves, which hopefully is a good job, good paying job, a career. And, a lot of our programs are 8,000 hours of on-the-job training. So some of our individuals are only in for 9 to 12 to 16 months. But we don't discourage them for not taking and being enrolled in these programs if the opportunity is there. Because there's so many different, and I'm going to get to that, I won't talk about that now, but there's so many different things they can achieve through that path. But if they aren't able to finish, they are able to then go out, and if they get a job in that specific field, they can continue and complete their program because they are under the DOC umbrella. So they're still considered our apprentice. Or they could work with that employer, and if they have their own apprenticeship, say it's an electrician, HVAC plumber per se, who most of them have their own apprenticeship program that they work with anyway, they could transfer over and then start with them. So yes, just because they leave and they don't have it finished, that is not a failure. If anything, it's to show, hey, look at what I've done while I was incarcerated, to that employer. Say, hey, I'd love to finish this. And all they have to do is we work with that employer, they send us their hours, and as long as they're continuing to get hours, we can complete them out. That's music's still playing.
I'm trying.
So that was kind of the administrative side of apprenticeship, kind of how it works, and the policy side and the standards with DOL. But there's a whole other half to it, which is probably the majority of what I do, and that's working our partnerships and training to really help take those apprenticeships, take the skills these individuals learn, and help them utilize that once they get out. And so that's where, with our state agency partnerships, employer collaboration, additional certifications really play a huge part. And I always emphasize our state agency partnerships because we really do a good job working together. We work really closely with Iowa Workforce Development. We actually have 4 IWD advisors in our facilities that work with that reentry piece to help individuals one-on-one with interviewing, finding jobs, applying for jobs, You know, just learning what they need to do to once they get out, where to go and ask for different things. And those individuals that are in our facility are also the apprenticeship sponsors. So they're also taking on that apprenticeship role as well. We work close, or I've worked with all of these state agencies closely. Iowa Economic Development for grant opportunities, Department of Ed, for collaboration with our community partner, our community college partners. So I just wanted to reiterate how important that is. And then also the employer piece. You know, without employers, you know, what are we need to learn what we need to train these individuals on. What is it that they're looking for? Soft skills is always the biggest one. What, you know, we need people who will show up on time or just show up. And so we really emphasize that. We have training within our programs that really, you know, emphasize the need and the importance of these skills. But also it gives the employer a chance to learn and understand how corrections works. You know, I don't know, I'm sure some of you remember way back when, like a year and a half ago before COVID, we had the governor roundtables and we had employers come into our facilities and really some of them for the first time see what goes on in our facilities, and they were just blown away with all of the opportunities. So it helps them understand the barriers that the individuals face, but also the great things that we're doing. So that employer collaboration, working with them, networking is huge across the state. You know, this is a statewide initiative. And then the additional certifications is the piece where that pathway I was talking about. So again, if they don't get their apprenticeship certificate, it's not a failure because along the way there's certain pieces that they could obtain. So for example, we have a community college at every one of our facilities. And I've implemented 2 or 3 different vocational certifications in some of our programs where if they complete so many hours or they get through this training, you know, they get a DMAC credential, Des Moines Area Community College or Iowa Central out of Fort Dodge. One example I always love to use is our cooking program. You know, it's a 4,000 hour program, two years. And a lot of individuals don't complete that because they're just not in long enough, they get transferred, whatever it may be. But ServSafe is a nationally recognized credential in the food industry. And if you go into any restaurant, you'll see ServSafe certificates on the wall. Just for being in the apprenticeship, they get to take that exam for free and get that credential. So if they don't complete their program, they at least get to have a ServSafe certificate, which is huge. And they can tell the employer, yep, I was in this program, I completed 1,200 hours, I wasn't able to finish it, but look at what I did along the way. So that's what I mean by a pathway, why we provide these opportunities, these credentials along the way to help individuals through however long we may have them. And then I wanted to kind of explain, you know, what have we been doing over the last 15 or 16 months and kind of where we plan on going. We've had a lot of awesome things happen over the last 15 months. And I know there's been a lot of negativity, a lot of, you know, just happening just in general. But I always come back and say, wow, we're doing some really cool things. And so first of all, I just want to explain a couple new programs we've started, which is an HVAC program at our Homes for Iowa site, which is where we build our houses. So the men are able to, you know, learn HVAC along with other programs, but that's just one we just implemented. And the injection molding machine operator program, that's a good one because that's one where we actually partnered with an employer on. That's a private sector company. We work with them. So this is a job where men leave the facility, go work at the employer, and then come back at the end of the day. And so this is only provided through that employer. So they get their on-the-job training while they're working, and then they come back and they do their related training instruction. And then a couple that we're going to start is a quality control tech and material coordinator production clerk. And that's going to be primarily in our Iowa Prison Industries shops. The next thing there is we just became accredited for NCCR, which is a National Center for Career Education and Research. This is a nationally recognized construction training program based out of Alachua, Florida. I went down there a couple years ago to be trained. I took a week-long training so that I can come back and train trainers on the curriculum. And it's an in-person, in-class training that not only do the individuals in the program learn the in-class from someone in the field, but they also have to do performance profiles, which is, okay, we're going to learn this in the book, now I want you to show me. And to me, that's how learning should be. You should be able to show what you just took a test on that you can do it. And if you can't, what do we need to do to help you understand that? And this is primarily at our house building program in Newton. And I would love to continue and spread the NCCR curriculum, and we will. We'll get there in other facilities, but that's a fantastic one, but we did just get accredited for that. Our coding program, That's something that we've started over a year and a half ago. This is right now, it's just at ICIW at the women's facility, but we received $175,000 from Google to start this coding program. We've had over 40 women complete the first class, and we've had over 100 women apply. So there is a huge want for training in this field. There's also a huge need for employees skilled in this, in this area. We're working with a nonprofit called Hvac out of Cedar Rapids, and they are connected with all sorts of different tech companies across the state. So the goal is to get the women as far as we can through this training. If they can't complete it, going back to what if you can finish once you get out, Hvac has funds to help these women complete once they get out, and there's $50,000, $60,000 jobs waiting for them. I mean, literally, there's employers asking Hvac, hey, who do you have? We need people. So we're working through that. We're getting through the second wave of classes. And women will learn how to code, software develop, create web design using JavaScript and a bunch of things that I don't understand, and it might as well be a foreign language, but I know it's really good stuff. So, and then the last thing is we're actually having a research project conducted on our apprenticeship program, which I am all in favor for. This is something I've wanted to do for a couple of years now, because I get asked all the time, does this work? Are the apprenticeships worth it? What's the recidivism rate? What's the data on it? And honestly, we really just don't have that pulled yet. We don't really know. There's so many different factors that go into a success, if someone's in an apprenticeship and if they're successful. But with this program, or this project being done by CJJP, Criminal and Juvenile Justice Planning, they received a grant for basically to look at our program from a 10,000-foot view and just identify different things. What works? What's not working? Where should we allocate more resources? What if we were to get more resources? How could we take it to the next level? So I'm hoping down the road I'll be able to present to you guys again on the outcomes of that. And I truly believe it will be good news, and that what we're doing is working, and I'm hoping to have real actual data to back that up. Real quickly, I wanted to talk about a success story, and this is where you talk about does it work or not. Right here is the perfect example. And I've worked with Mitchell, and Mitchell gave me permission to talk to you all about this, and use him as kind of the example. But we started a barber program 2 years ago, maybe a little over. And the beauty of this apprenticeship is, well, first it was the first barber apprenticeship in the state of Iowa. But if you're incarcerated and you complete your program, you are able to sit and take the state exams to become a licensed barber. Because if you didn't know, you have to have a license in the state of Iowa to legally cut hair. Mitchell was the first one to complete his program at Rockwell City. He moved back to Des Moines. He and I actually went up to talk to him about it because he was the first one that was done, and he wanted to know what the process was. I've learned more about barbering in the last 2 years than I thought I ever would. But it is quite the process, and a pretty expensive process from start to finish. And even just to apply, take the exams, all of that. And for someone getting out of prison, you just couple that with all the other craziness in their lives, you can see where it'd be very overwhelming. But to Mitchell's credit, he stuck with it. He and I chatted multiple times. We worked with the Board of Barbering, and to this day, about a month ago, he was able to get his license, open his own shop, get a license to open his own shop in Des Moines, and is now down the path that he wanted to do. So, for me to say, when people ask, does it work? Boom, here you go. This is a perfect opportunity. While I think he would have done this anyway, whether he was incarcerated or not, but because he was given that opportunity to complete his apprenticeship, get that out of the way and complete while he was incarcerated, he then could get out and focus on the other things that he needed to do. So, this is just one example. We have multiple others where, we've had individuals complete different programs or get certified, get those third-party credentials, and go on and get hired on in that same area. And I truly believe it's because they have that opportunity in the apprenticeship. And real quick, the last couple slides, I just wanted to give a plug for Future Ready Iowa, because I truly believe this is a great initiative. This is Governor Reynolds' plan to have 70% of Iowa's workforce, educated beyond high school, and apprenticeship fits right into that. That's why I wanted to mention this. Apprenticeship is growing you know, the job opportunities that we have, the apprenticeable occupations in our correctional facilities are huge for these individuals, not just to learn skills, but to gain the confidence, to understand what it means to work as a team, work with an employer, you know, all of those different things. So this fits right in with that initiative, and I truly do believe that this is great, and I hope we hit that mark. Go ahead, Gordon. And then the last thing, I pulled this right from Department of Labor's website. 70% growth in new apprentices over the last 10 years across the nation. And even in a COVID year of last year, it was still the third highest number of apprentices registered. So apprenticeship isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's just continuing to grow. There's so many new non-traditional apprenticeships in IT, healthcare, and we really run the spectrum. If you go back to that list of the programs that we have, we hit just about every single sector, every industry in the state of Iowa in those programs. So it's here, we're growing, you know, I'm a huge proponent. If you couldn't tell, I could talk about this all day, but I won't bore you anymore with apprenticeship, but that's all I had. If you guys had any questions, I had to get this slide, that was my favorite one. There you go.
Injection mold, it wasn't listed for a particular institution. Where is that located at?
So that'll be at our Mount Pleasant and Newton facilities. That's where we have the private sector partnership with those employers.
Okay, and are we still building houses at this time?
Absolutely, yep.
So that's a nice.
Yep, that is, I mean, if you guys haven't been out there recently, it's just a sea of houses right now. So continuing to build that, grow more, or bring more individuals in, add more to the training, and get more apprentices involved. We actually have about 4 programs going on down there, but the main one is our home performance laborer apprenticeship, which is a 1-year program, and they're able to get 3 or 4 different credentials through that, just being in that apprenticeship.
Well, it's a good program because it serves a twofold need, one for incarcerated individuals as well as a housing need for small communities.
Absolutely, win all the way around.
Yeah.
My recollection is that in the past, there were some barriers with local unions with like electrical and plumbing, and they weren't necessarily open to the idea, and when it came down to it, the Department of Labor certificate in a situation like that doesn't hold much weight. What's the relationship?
I think we have actually, I've spoken to every board, licensing board that we have an apprenticeship for, and they're all very supportive of it. Now, that doesn't mean if you complete your program, where are you going to fall if you go and join an electrical union? You know, you may have to go back and do some training. But as far as like applying to be a licensed electrician or whatnot, you can. I mean, if you complete that, you can submit your application, then it's up to the board. You're just like anyone else in that situation. It's up to the board to allow you to continue on and be licensed. So we actually do have a really good relationship with the boards and the unions when it comes to that. So we've been working on that over the last couple of years. So yeah.
And do you have any sense of like the approval of formerly incarcerated persons versus?
Oh, we've had like numbers. I know we've had a handful of individuals I know we've had a couple plumbers from Fort Dodge, electricians, the barbers, who have gotten out, submitted their application, and they have been approved to go ahead and test for their state license. And that's the thing, they still have to take the test, right? This gets them to a certain point, but they still have to apply just like everyone else and then take that test. They just happened to go a different route while they were incarcerated than someone that was on the outside. So yeah, it is a very positive relationship that we have with them right now, which is great.
Good. Any other questions? Anybody?
No, but this is Jim up in Fort Dodge, and I can just tell you the outcomes of what these guys are doing are just outstanding, and I know it has a lot of support, so keep up the good work.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, hope you guys learned something about apprenticeship today. And if you have any questions, there's my contact info. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. All right, do we have any public comments today?
Madam Chair, on our YouTube live stream, it's an opportunity for the public to make comments on there. with the streamers that are tuning in via
Yes.
the remote. And we haven't had this happen before where I've had to relay the comments. I always present the opportunity. And so someone has made some their questions, but they're asking them in form of public comment. So I'll relay them to you, and if you as the board would like to pose them to the department to answer in the future, it's your discretion, or however you'd like to handle it. But I'll just kind of read the comments that are kind of questions. How often are all staff and inmates tested for COVID at all prisons? Are there tests for those that have recovered from COVID-19? That's from one user. They also went on to ask, are you offering some type of incentives for staff or inmates to be vaccinated? If not, you should be. And their third question comment was, prisoners are currently eating all their meals inside their cells with overcrowding. This means 4 men instead of 2 are forced to eat in each other's arms or on the toilet. Will you reopen the cafeterias? That was one user's public comment. That was posed to the board. So.
Okay. And that's it.
There was one other user that also made a comment question that said, does an inmate have to be vaccinated to get personal visitation or visitors?
Okay. I would move that we refer those questions to the department. If you could address those by the next meeting, and perhaps those in attendance today will get their answers at the next meeting.
We will do that.
All right, thank you, Cord. Open discussion among the board members. Are there any?
I would just like to thank all you guys for applying and all you guys that were appointed. We thank you for being willing to take on that responsibility of looking out for the inmates and also the staff. We know what happened in Anamosa, so we don't want anything like that happening again. So we want you guys to do your best, and I really appreciate you guys, stepping out on faith. And I like what you said, Marcy, about you grew up in Mount Pleasant and how you feel like you wanted to treat people well, and that's very important. We got to learn how to treat each other, and so I hope that all the staff and all the wardens, new wardens, learn how to treat each other, treat the staff, treat the inmates, and everyone else.
I just want to thank Chris for all her years of service. Chris, you've been a face in the crowd for, I've been on this board. I think Becky's the only one that's been on this board longer than me. I believe you came out in 2013 and I was on 2000. But you've always been a star in my mind, and it's just proven yourself in different facilities. And so I just really appreciate your comments today and appreciate the service that you had. And as well as for Jay, I'm sorry he's not here today, but I certainly want to go on record to say that Jay was, I think he came from Oakdale, our Oakdale facility, before he went to Mount Pleasant, so remember that, his appointment. So anyway, he's done a great job there, and I'm sure Marcy will fill his shoes very well. And I do want to comment, I know Beth, you're the old numbers person guy, and I'm person, not guy. Person.
I got you.
But anyway, I certainly hope we can give Dane some support in getting those numbers. I have a few years left on the board before I expire on the board, and I certainly hope that we start moving that recidivism number back in the direction that it was when I first came on the board a number of years ago. And
yes, sir.
So and I do want to say congratulations to all our new wardens, as well as to Randy. Again, Randy, I think when I was first on the board, weren't you at the Oakdale facility as well?
Yes, I was. I was the security
yeah.
director there when you
Yeah,
started.
I thought so. So anyway, thank you so much.
Webster or Jim, any other comments? Hearing none, we can move to adjournment. Can I have?
Are we going to deal with this board meeting locations this month, or is that just something we want to deal with next month?
That's just for your reference. What's this year's? We haven't.
This is this year's locations.
Yeah, I haven't had
Okay.
a chance to give it to you in person.
Okay. All right.
And I
Oh, it is 25. All right.
expect.
But are we going to start looking at locations, because many of these locations we didn't visit this year, and so.
We will look at a new schedule in November or October, and we can look at what locations we've missed so far this year and review to see if we're gonna have them on next year.
Okay.
And I would also expect at this point, we'll assume in person unless your numbers would suggest otherwise.
Correct.
And just be in
Yes.
touch between now and then. Okay. All right, at this point, we're ready to adjourn. If I may have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Trent.
Second.
Seconded. Thank you, Larry.
Second.
Thank you. If we could have a vote, all in favor of adjourning this meeting?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Hearing no opposition, we will adjourn this meeting.